In astrology, we have male and female signs. And the male signs are also considered cruel signs, and the female signs are considered gentle signs. So the male signs are the odd signs, starting with Aries. So Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, and Aquarius are the cruel male signs. So these are the signs that take action, take initiative, who push things, who try things, who make more efforts in general. They do things in more active, aggressive ways. Now, active, aggressive ways are male, but those things may sometimes come off as cruel. Okay? Then the female signs, which are the gentle signs, they do things in passive ways. Passivity doesn't come off as cruel. All right? So the security paradigm with somebody who's got Ketu in a cruel male sign is going to be that I have to be strong sometimes. I might even have to be cruel sometimes. I might have to fight my way to get things sometimes. I might have to push to get what I need. So the security paradigm is I can push, I can initiate, I can activate, I can be tough if I have to. Those are the things that are going to make my life work. So they grew up in an early environment where those type of actions got attention. Okay? Where they were heard, they got their needs met more, not necessarily entirely, but they got more of their needs met by being more aggressive in their behaviors, in their actions, in their verbalization. And sometimes the aggressiveness come out very pleasant. You know, people can be very pleasant in their aggression. They can have very skillful aggression, but it's still, the idea is, I'm going to do this. So they act with some greater force, which can sometimes be felt as cruel or pushy to other people. When Ketu's in a female sign or gentle sign, the security paradigm for the person is, as long as I don't create waves, okay, as long as I don't stir the pot, as long as I don't cause trouble, if I can just be more open to what comes, if I can just be more ready to receive, and be more demure in my demeanor, more receptive in my demeanor, that life is going to work out. So this person, anytime they tried to act with more volition and force, they usually were hitting a wall that didn't get them anything. And so it just worked better for them to play things in a more relaxed way. So their security paradigm is, as long as I don't cause any harm, as long as I don't push, as long as I'm not aggressive, everything will work out. Okay? Now, the gender, the male and female of a sign, the opposites are the same. So if you have Ketu in a male sign, you're going to have Rahu in a male sign. If you have Ketu in a female sign, Rahu is going to be in a female sign. So this quality of, you know, having a security paradigm that's more about aggression and action versus receptivity and being open is not something that's going to really change. But the behavior doesn't change, but the person's relationship to the behavior has to change. The Ketu one is a security paradigm. I have to be this way in order for life to work. That's false. Everything about Ketu that says you have to be this way to make life work is false. Sometimes being this way will make life work. But having a security paradigm revolving around Ketu is never healthy. So even though with the gender, just like the modality, Rahu's gender modality are the same, we don't have to change that nature of the behavior, but we have to change our relationship to it, to something that I have to do this or else. This is the only way. I can't stand other people who do it, who do other things differently, to a working paradigm. Okay? In this situation, this works too, which is always the Rahu situation. So in this situation, being male works. I'm focused on being aggressive and initiative in this area, but I'm not doing it in this area. So I need to do that in this area. So say a person who's got Ketu in Aquarius, let's say, okay? Aquarius is an air sign, it's a social sign, it's a sign of connectivity and exchange. So Ketu in that air sign is going to say, okay, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to connect, I'm going to go out there and connect with people the way I want to. with the people I'm connecting, I'm going to, be strong and maybe pushy at times in what is important to me, okay? And ultimately get my security needs met from, someone who I can connect with, okay? Or some group of people, or from a culture I can connect with, any of those Aquarius things. Because Aquarius has a lot to do with where we see our commonality with other people. Saturn represents our commonality with other people. Ultimately, the commonality that all of us have is that we will all die. We're all mortal beings. And that should be enough to bring us together and care about each other, but it doesn't often do so. But in Aquarius is where that commonality is recognized. But people look for sub-commonalities, okay? I am into this, and these people are into this, so we have a commonality. So Aquarius is a sign of socially connecting to those we have a commonality to. Ultimately, the only commonality is we're mortal beings on a terrible, pain-stricken planet. When a person realizes that in Aquarius, it makes them humanitarian and caring and brings out all the great qualities of Aquarius, okay? On a lower level, Aquarius can just be, well, I'm a mortal being, I might as well do what I can when I get what I can from who I can while I'm here. And that's why in some of the old Vedic astrology books, Aquarius is given a lot of trouble for being sexually promiscuous and all this stuff. Well, as mortal beings, the next thing that happens is, yes, you're going to be sexually promiscuous because mortal beings have to propagate. And so we've got this sexual instinct that forces us to procreate. And that has given, Aquarius sort of a bad rep in a lot of the old books, okay? But ultimately it's looking for that commonality. We're all mortal beings who procreate through sexuality. That's a commonality of the human race. So that's something that Aquarius can often get in touch with themselves and with other people, okay? So, but it still is a socially connected sign because of where a person sees their commonality. But people will, like I say, find sub-commonalities. I'm a member of this religion. That's what I have in common with this person, or whatever. This is what I think is important to do with my time, and so does this other person. Therefore, we have a commonality of what we think is important to do with our time. But why do they even have that commonality in the first place? Because time is running out. They're going to die. So therefore, what they spend their time doing and who they spend their time doing it with becomes important because they want to share that they want their time to be spent what they think as valuable. Okay? And of course, it's a fixed sign. Aquarius, and fixed signs like things that they deem valuable. All fixed signs also go around thinking, if I have what's valuable to me, life will work out. So they have that security paradigm. So anyway, we get the K2 and Aquarius person that, yeah, they might be pushy, they might be aggressive in finding their commonalities and going against things that aren't their commonalities. But where they need to be strong and pushy is in respect to the fire sign, of finding out who they are. They need to force themselves and push themselves and be hard on themselves in the context of discovering themselves. Okay? So anyone with, Rahu in a male sign, which is a fire sign, or a air sign, so anyone with Rahu in a fire sign is going to have it in a male sign. All of these people have the same thing, is they need to learn to be stronger and harder and tougher and more pushy with themselves. Instead, they feel more secure, feeling they can be strong and hard when necessary and pushy with respect to others. And by pushy, I can mean pushy in ways that you're pushed like a gentle breeze of wind and you don't even realize you're being pushed. I don't mean just take the person and force them to your will, but where you somehow have a grace too. It can happen this way of getting people to do what you want, but it's about moving other people somehow. Okay? If it's Ketu's in a fixed, or is in a male air sign, okay? So we always have to take that gender and direct it back at the opposite thing. If you have Ketu and fire signs, okay, you can be tough on yourself, you can be hard on yourself, you can push yourself, but can you do the same with other people? You need to learn how to be the strong, more male person in the context of other people. And of course, the female signs are the earth and water signs. So if a person has got Ketu in a female sign, their security paradigm is based on passive living, by being passive and receptive and not engaging in aggressive activities or conflictual activities, that's the best my life is going to work. And so they'll do that really naturally in their area of life indicated by Ketu sign, but not so naturally in the area of life indicated by Rahu sign. So Ketu in the earth sign person will very readily, which is a female sign, a female earth sign, be relaxed and go with the flow of things materially. They won't be pushy and aggressive about things materially. But they need to learn to do the same in the water signs, which is their emotional realms. Okay? To be receptive and open to that. That means in those areas they might actually approach those with more force, but that's not going to work. They have to approach those areas of life with a go with the flow. So as easily as they can go with the flow of material things, they need to learn to go with the flow of emotional and spiritual things. Okay? And those would be the areas that have a harder time just being relaxed and being feminine and receptive and open to. Okay? So, let's see if I want to read anything. So, initiative and aggression, when in case of a male sign, behavior was found as the safest way to manage the conditions of their early environment, and such behaviors will remain a large part of their pattern throughout life. And this could also mean they had very male people around them. Their parents in general were very male, were go-getters. It could also be that. They see their parents being successful as go-getters, so they themselves decide they need to be go-getters. Okay? The need is to initiate their lives, and this can mean pushing towards what they think or feel they need to do. The security paradigm stems more from the need to please their father, or the security paradigm was established more to the actions of the father. Sometimes that's true, not in every case, but it's a safe bet that if you have Ketu in a male sign, your bigger security paradigm, the biggest part of your security paradigm, probably came as a result of your relationship with your father. If in an even sign, in a female sign, probably in your relationship with your mother. Okay? Or not necessarily your relationship directly, but in your observation of your mother. It worked for my mom, it'll work for me. It worked for my dad, it'll work for me, if it's a male sign. So sometimes I'll see this where, a kid has a father that the mother deals with in a very passive way to make things work as good as possible. And so the kid who has the same issues with the father as the mother decides to also work that out in as passive as a way as possible. And then the other kid might be seeing the father act very aggressively and have Ketu in a male sign. So the other kid has a Ketu in a male sign, sees the father behaving more aggressively, and it's working for him. It's saying, God, they seem to be working what dad's doing. So they decide, for life to work, I have to be aggressive. So in the same family, you'll see one person who shifts more to the feminine perspective and one to the masculine. Now there's always the chance that of role reversals where one parent is actually the mom's wearing the pants and dad is, being told what to do a lot more. So then you could flip the dynamics. But the important idea is it's a male-female dynamics. The Ketu in a female sign learned that from their perspective, being in a feminine place is a safer place to work that increases my chance of well-being. And a person with Ketu in a male sign has gone, well, being in a more active, initiative, forceful, aggressive manner increases my chances of making things work out. And by aggressive, I don't mean like ruthlessly aggressive. I just mean like sort of initiative, where I'm going to lead the show. I'm going to show what's going to be done. I'm going to say what's going to be done. But it could be in a way that makes everyone happy, or it could be in a brutal, aggressive way. That depends on the entirety of the person, the entirety of the chart. But you'll see this theme of the person falling back and feeling more secure in a feminine or a masculine way. And they'll feel like those actions simply work better for them. And ultimately, they need to stick in that group. They don't need to shift out of it and change gender roles. They just have to apply that quality to different areas of their life, from earth signs to water signs, from water signs to earth signs, from fire signs to air signs, and air signs to fire signs, okay? So that opposite quality of the sign that's different. But these parallels, like the modalities and the genders, these are the things that the person, where the person's behavior won't shift. They're always going to behave that way, and they're supposed to, but they'll just shift their focus of that thing. So they're learning to behave in that way in a different realm, in a different element, the element of Rahu. And they're learning to place less emphasis on behaving on that way of where Ketu is. Okay, so, I guess that says it. They're just learning to not behave, not thinking they have to behave that way in the Ketu way, but realizing they can behave that way in the Rahu way works. They can behave with that modality in the Rahu way, and that'll work better than behaving that modality in the Ketu way. They don't need to be male in Ketu's areas of life. That's not always going to work, but being male in Rahu's areas of life will work. They don't need to be female in Rahu's area of life. They need to be male in Rahu's area of life. Same gender on Ketu and Rahu. But they have to be that way in a whole new place. Okay? But at least they can be that way. All right? So you can always tell a person, okay, just be yourself, which is a male or female, movable, fixed, or dual person. Be yourself, but approach it to this. Okay, so you can say for the Ketu and Aquarius, Rahu and Leo person, you can say, be the initiative, tough at times, driven, focused person that you are, in a way that you really hang on to things and you take the time to make things work, fixed sign. But instead of applying that to the people around you, apply that to your own self and finding out what you yourself can do, which is Leo. Discover it, focus that on the fire, the self. So you can just tell them to focus that quality on something else. And it really helps people to know they have a quality that's going to serve them well. Because you can start talking about Rahu and Ketu and it just seems overwhelming. I've got nothing here, I've got to just leave Ketu. No, you don't. You have to let go of your security paradigm of Ketu. But there's qualities of Ketu that are going to serve you very well in Rahu's area. And that's the ones that are the same. You just have to be that same thing, the male, movable, fixed, or dual person in a different world. Okay, so you get to be the same person though. And really the male, female defines so much of the kind of person you are. That's one of the first things you ask. Say somebody says, oh, I met a new friend, their name is Pat. And you're like, okay, is Pat a boy or a girl? Because Pat's one of those names that can be male or female. So they even had that Saturday Night Live show about Pat. You couldn't tell she was male or female, and the joke was always somebody would be talking to Pat to find out if she was or he was male or female. As it turns out, Pat, for those of you who want to know and used to watch Saturday Night Live, is actually female. Her sister is one of my clients. So what was I going to say? So we get to, that's the kind of person we are. We're movable. We're male or female. It's like a very fundamental quality of person we are. It's more fundamental than saying I'm an earth person or a water person. We don't say, oh, are they a water person or earth person? We ask, are they a movable, fixed, are they a male or female? It's the first thing we want to know about a person, right? So these things that stay the same with the signs are very fundamental to their nature. And then you could say, oh, they're male or they're female. And then are they a scholarly type? Do they like to learn? Are they a bookworm? Do they like to use their brains? Okay, dual sign. Are they adventurous? Do they like a lot of change and even welcome chaos at times? Okay, movable sign. Is security really important to them? Are they someone you can count on? Fixed sign. So these are like basic qualities of who we are that we don't change when we shift from Ketu to Rahu, because these things are too much of who we are. So all the things between opposite signs that are the same, like modality and male and female, represent qualities of us that are just so inherent to being the human we are, that we're not about changing them, we're just about being that same human in a different world, in a water world instead of an earth world, for instance. Okay? But it's still important to understand these parts of ourselves. Sometimes it's just such a simple thing that a person knows. They'll just say, oh, I've been through so many relationships. And you go, oh, movable sign, your Ketu's in a movable sign with air. And you can say, okay, so you're always able to go to a new relationship. But how about instead of going to a new relationship, next time you go to new fire. You go to and find a new you. You go to yourself and make that your new relationship. And then they'll laugh and go, okay, yeah, that's manageable. I'm always going to new people. I guess I can go to new me, which is the fire sign. And that's a way that they can make a little shift in how they're behaving and in their understanding of things. Okay, so enough on those two. Thank you.